The River by Valerie Bloom. By now, children, you must have learnt the poem and have understood what the poem is about. Today, we will learn to appreciate the various poetic devices the poet Valerie Bloom has used to make this poem come alive. She has encouraged us to use our imagination and understanding to visualize or to see the river as she does. So let's study the various tools or the poetic devices she has used to make this poem come alive. The poem River has rhyme schemes in it. It has a rhyme scheme. It has also got comparisons in the form of metaphors. It has got personification, human characteristics that have been brought out. And finally, it has sound producing words or onomatopoeia. So now children, we will study each of these in detail. To begin with, we have the rhyme scheme. And by the rhyme scheme, I mean that you have rhyming words in the poem placed at regular intervals. In this poem, The River, the rhyming words are placed at the end of the second and the fourth line. So you have the words out there like tramp, camp, hill, still, deep, keep, hums, thumbs, long, song. So these are in. So that the first camp is in the first verse. Hill and still is in the second verse. And so all in the remaining verses. So we have a rhyme scheme. Now what does this do? It gives a beat to the poem. It makes it sound musical. So with that rhythm, these rhyming words make the poem very interesting to recite. The next poetic device used is the metaphor. If you can see the equal to sign over there, children, which means it is comparing something. And it's comparing the river to being a wanderer, to being a winder, hoarder, a baby also, and a singer. Now, what do I mean by comparison? Here it is a direct comparison, saying that the river is a wanderer. So it's like a wanderer, a person who goes from place to place because he has no place to live or to stay. Similarly, even the river does not stay in one place, it moves on. So that's why it has been compared to a wanderer. Then to a winder, because this river, as it moves along, it doesn't go in a straight path. It turns and it twists and it goes over the various rocks and the logs or whatever comes in its way. Then it is a hoarder. That means it carries along with it all the soil and the stones from the top of the mountains and buries it deep down in its riverbed. So that's why it's called a hoarder. Doesn't give away the things so easily. Then it's like a tiny baby all excited and wanting attention. So it makes different sounds like the gurgling sound, and it makes the sound of humming sound, and also like as if it is sucking its thumb. So this is what we say when the river is compared to as a baby. It is said it is a baby. Direct comparison. And also like a singer that is being watched by many audience around, by people see it. So the river also is being watched. So here we see how the poet has used metaphors or direct comparisons to describe the river. Now we have the personification, and the poet has used this poetic device very well to show us actually that this river has come alive and how it has the ability to choose where to go, how it turns and it twists. All these are actually human characteristics. A river can't do it on its own. But the poet has given this characteristic to the river And it seems to us as if the river is able to choose where to go, how to turn, how to move. So, this is what we call personification. It is given a human characteristic, something maybe which is not living usually. Okay. And finally, we have the most interesting of all are the onomatopoeia or the sound producing verbs. For example, like the gurgling of the baby. So you can actually hear the river making these kind of sounds as it moves along and it hums. And also sometimes it's as if it is like a little baby sucking its thumb. So these sound producing words create a picture in our mind of how excited the river is just by the sound of these words. So, children, the poet has used all these different poetic devices to joggle our imagination and to create that scene in front of us the way she sees the river. So, children, whenever we study poetry, we should also learn to appreciate the point of view of the poet and how the poet has used various poetic devices to make that poem come alive. We end this video with a short assignment for you. Of course, you have to learn the poem, but in addition to that, you need to answer a few questions in your textbook itself. Question 1 on page 123 and question 1 and 2 on page 124. Now the answers to this question also lie in this video. So if you find it a little difficult to answer, refer to this video again and then go back to doing your assignment.